Welcome to Proven and Probable, where we deliver mining insights and bullion sales in the form of physical delivery, offshore depositories, and private blockchain distributed ledger technology.
Welcome to Proven and Probable. I'm your host, Maurice Jackson. Joining us for a conversation is Chris Taylor, the President, Director, and CEO of Great Bear Resources. Mr. Taylor, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Maurice. Nice to speak with you.
Glad to have you back on the program, sir. Audience members should note, last month we conducted a very thorough, comprehensive interview with Mr. Taylor, highlighting the value proposition before us in Great Bear Resources. We encourage you to visit our website to truly appreciate the consideration and merit that Great Bear Resources presents for your portfolio. Great Bear Resources has some important updates for current and prospective shareholders regarding the company's continued progress from the ongoing 90,000 meter drill program on its 100% owned Dixie Gold Project in the Red Lake District of Ontario. Before we address today's exciting press release, Mr. Taylor, for someone new to the story, please introduce us to Great Bear Resources and what is the opportunity you present to the market.
Great Bear is a Canadian gold-focused exploration company, and our project, the Dixie property, is located in one of Canada's best high-grade gold mining jurisdictions. That's the Red Lake area of the province of Ontario. And the gold project that we're working on, as you mentioned, is it's 100% owned, and it's located immediately adjacent to a highway beside power lines and about a 20-minute drive from other existing gold mines in this area. So it's an infrastructure-rich, high-grade gold project with gold results that go right to the surface beside a highway.
Mr. Taylor, we have updates regarding drill fences and the consolidation of 3 zones. To have a better context on the successes of today's press release, provide us with some highlights of the LP Fault drill program to date.
The LP Fault is a very large gold target on our project, and this is about 20 kilometers long, tip to tip. So from the perspective of other projects in this area, this LP Fault target is about the same strike length as all the other mines in the Red Lake District put together. If you stack them up all beside each other, they would be about the same size as the target that we're working on now. What we're seeing and what we announced in our most recent news release is that as we drill along many kilometers of this fault, we keep hitting gold mineralization in every area. So initially in our exploration program, we thought we had different gold zones developed along the fault, and we called those the Barramini, the Yuma, and the Oro zones. With the recent results, what we see is that drilling between and around these areas is all hitting the same styles of gold mineralization, and that means instead of having normal-sized gold zones, what we have is a very large, an unusually large and unusually continuous gold zone that goes right to surface. So it's a very exciting change for our understanding of the project. And to date, we've only drilled about 18%, so 3 kilometers of about 20 kilometers of that target. So there's a long way to go for Great Bear, and it's very exciting to see these results coming out as they are.
Looking at Figure 1, walk us through and provide shareholders with a summary of the company's most recent results regarding drill fences along the LP Fault.
The first figure in the release shows the locations of the Barramini, Yuma, and Oro zones, and how in those areas, when we put out news over the last few months, it was just a drill hole or maybe 2 to 3 drill holes in each area, widely separated by 1.5 kilometers or 1 kilometer, and these zones were given separate names. Obviously, before we did the drilling, we didn't know if these all connected together into sort of a large super zone, for want of a better term. With the drilling that we've done recently, which we showed on Figure 1, we're seeing the same rocks and the same styles of gold mineralization section after section after section, to the point where there are now 14 drill sections. Each section has 1 to 3 drill holes across it, and it's all the same geology and all the same styles of gold mineralization over that entire 3.2 kilometer area. So we have enough data present now, which we're showing visually on Figure 1, that you see the continuity of mineralization. And ultimately, continuity is what gives you resources for a gold system like this. And seeing this kind of continuity was excellent news for the company.
Moving on to Figure 2, what can you share with us regarding gold-bearing alteration, and why is this important for shareholders to note?
The gold-bearing alteration that we see, effectively what's important here is the size. Now, there's really two styles of gold mineralization that we see along the LP fault. Some of this mineralization is very wide zones of lower grade gold, the type of gold that you would see mined in some of the largest deposits in Canada. There's a very well-known project here in Canada, which is operated by Agnico Eagle Mines. It's a great big mining company, and they're an excellent they have an excellent exploration and production track record. That deposit is about 12 million ounces of gold at about 1 gram per ton gold, and it's a big open pit type deposit. So we see that style of alteration and gold mineralization along 3 kilometers so far of our project, which is about the same strike length as that big Malartic deposit that's operated by Agnico Eagle. And then we see high grade gold within that as well. And this is high grade gold and the low grade massive halo around it that go right to surface. And with the results that we've just put out, we could see that in the drill core links that we drilled and published recently, we've seen that gold zone go up to 500 meters long along the drill core. And that's amazing in terms of a 500-meter width of the mineralized system that we see so far. That's the kind of mineralized system you don't typically associate with a gold deposit. That's the sort of thing that you see in these big porphyry copper deposits and other deposits of that scale. But usually with gold, in this area, most of the gold that's mined is only 2 meters wide. 2 meters of high-grade gold is what has produced more than 30 million ounces of production in this district. So this is the first time in this area of Ontario that anybody's seen a gold system with this sort of scale and magnitude. Strike length, depth extent over 500 meters so far when we've drilled it, and up to 500 meters of width that we see along the core. It's just turning into something that nobody expected to see on this scale in this area.
Great Bear Resources provided some intriguing assay results, but before we get into those numbers, can you walk us through the 3D image of the LP fault zone, and what does this convey to the technical team?
Effectively, what we show through these 3D images is consistency. And you see the same styles of rocks and the same mineralization kilometer after kilometer. And it's really that consistency which is going to make this an unusual standout in terms, along with the size and the presence of gold to surface beside the highway. That consistency of geology, section to section to section across kilometers, is what we want to emphasize with that image.
Every speculator wants to see results. We have them displayed before our audience members. Walk us through the results, and what has piqued the team's interest on the latest rounds of success regarding continuity?
Effectively, what we see is these section after section along this new target. We see that wide intervals of the low-grade mineralization that tends to form these open pit type mining deposits. And then we see that high-grade zones within it. So what we're noticing, if you look at the results, is that you see mineralization that ranges from up to 100 grams per ton over widths of, say, half a meter, or you might end up with a half an ounce per ton over 3 to 4 meters. And that'll be surrounded by these wide intervals of, say, 40 meters of a 2 grams per ton, or 50 meters of a gram per ton, these sort of intervals. And that's what we see effectively in the Oro area of the LP fault. We had a drill result that came out about a month ago now, which was about 40 meters of 5 grams per ton gold, an exceptional result up near the surface. Again, higher grade intervals in the middle of that. And now we're seeing with step out drilling, which is hundreds of meters away to the southeast and to the northwest, we see the same indications of high grade gold flanked by lower grade mineralization. And it's consistent, and that consistency is what's driving this story. It's that combination of factors which is really setting these new discoveries apart from anything else that's been found in this district before.
The press release highlighted holes BR21 and BR22. Walk us through the cross-section of BR21 on Figure 4, and why is this important?
BR21 was drilled partially between what we called the Oro discovery and another discovery about a kilometer away. So this is about 200 meters away from the Oro discovery towards the Yuma area. And BR21 showed some half-ounce mineralization, again, right up near surface, and the same flanking intervals of the lower-grade gold mineralization, again, right near surface. BR21 was a shallow test of the mineralization to see if it went right to surface in that area and towards the other zone. And the other section that we put out, BR22, which is to the southeast of our original discovery hole, that had, again, some 100-gram gold material flanked by, I believe it was about 40 meters of about 2 grams per ton gold around that as well. And that was a deeper test. And in the deeper holes, what we saw in this system is that as we've gone deeper in that Oro area, the zone is really flaring out to this exceptional width of seeing multiple gold intervals over up to 500 meters. So that's the significance of the BR21 section and the BR22 section, both flanking. They're both bracket that original Oro zone discovery hole as well. So you have continuity across 300 meters in that area of the high grade and the low to moderate grade gold going right to surface, and also looking like it expands to depth, which is also another significant finding.
Let's discuss zone consolidation. Which zones are being consolidated, and what prompted this move?
Effectively, all of the zones that we've drilled along the LP fault, there were 3 of them prior to this news release, they've all been merged together, because with 14 drill fences, each with 1 to 3 drill holes across that 3-kilometer strike length, we're seeing the same mineralization at all locations. And that means that we're not looking at separate gold zones at all. We're looking at a large, continuously mineralized gold zone. And that was the very significant finding that we came out with recently.
Before we leave Great Bear Resources Property Bank, the business and geological acumen continues to exceed market expectations. What can you share with us regarding properties that are earning 100% royalty-free interest?
Our projects are exceptionally unusual in that sense. When we purchased the Dixie project, to give you a little bit of history, it was owned by 2 different parties. One of them was Newmont at the time, the large American mining firm. They owned about a 33% interest in the project. The other one was a local prospector who'd managed to accumulate a 67% interest in the property, and also some of the outstanding royalties. Now, when Great Bear became the owners under option of this property 3 years ago, we negotiated that we would buy out the royalties to the project so it wouldn't be burdened by any of those factors. And we also bought out eventually Newmont Mining as well. We did that before we did any drilling. And we knew that if we were successful on the project and we had not bought these people out in their entirety, ultimately the purchase price would have been much, much higher. So we managed to get a very good, fair deal for our shareholders. It doesn't have any royalty overhangs on the project at all. And that means that all the benefit of what we're finding in the ground flows to our company's shareholders. And that's why with our share structure, currently sitting at about 42 million shares issued and outstanding, it's a much tighter share structure than you see with most companies in our position. We do have a great deal of cash in the treasury as well, about $18 million Canadian at this point, about $24 million on a partially diluted basis. And that's enough money that we can basically do hundreds of drill holes on the project over 2019 and 2020 without the requirement to finance again. So that combination of 100% ownership that you mentioned, the lack of a royalty overhang, and the tight share structure is one of those are the combined dominant reasons why the project and the company is performing so well in the context of its group of peers.
In closing, multi-layered question. What is the next unanswered question for Great Bear Resources? When can we expect a response, and what determines success?
There's, I think the way to answer that, Maurice, is to point at what makes a project unique and what makes it successful. And in our case, what you're looking at is a very active exploration program with results that come out very frequently. This is something that generally guides the market and progresses the market. So people don't have to wait months or years between progress on the project. It comes out weekly or every few weeks at the latest. And what you're seeing on top of that is those combinations of structure and the unusual discovery. So thinking about the geology and the nature of gold mineralization, how many comparable peer companies out there can tell you that all the gold that they're drilling goes right within a few meters of the surface, and that all that gold is being found only, a mile or two from a paved highway, and the main gold zones actually run parallel to the highway and are only about a 20-minute drive from other major producing gold mines in the region. Those are all factors that combine to make Great Bear stand out from its group of peers.
Chris, what keeps you up at night that we don't know about?
To be honest, one of the things that keeps me up at night is sort of a level of buzzing excitement, and I feel it. I'm on the project right now. I'm talking to the geologists all the time, and when you're drilling as actively as we are, there's multiple drill holes going in across kilometers of these targets. And when you see gold coming out of the ground on these things, and you see the assays coming back from the lab, I wake up every day and wonder what has come in overnight and how much bigger the system has gotten, where we've expanded into, what field crews have found while they're looking around the project. It's that level of excitement that keeps me awake at night. It's been such an exciting ride so far, but from the perspective of discovery, we're really just getting started on this property, and it's like very much the size of a gold district in and of its own right. So it's large, it's multi-target, and the excitement is really what gets me out of bed very quickly every morning.
Last question, Mr. Taylor. What did I forget to ask?
Well, one of the things that people always ask me about is how big could the project be? And I think there's some very reasonable comparisons. Like, there are other large district discoveries in Canada and in other gold belts in the world. And if people are curious, the company posts many of the interviews and webinars and other things that me and my partner, Bob Singh, our VP Exploration, present to the public. In some of those, there are comparisons to other large deposits that we see in Canada that have been exceptional large-scale producers and exceptional recent discoveries. And if people want to understand the scope of the system, some of those things make direct comparisons in terms of the types of high-grade discoveries, the types of big bulk tonnage discoveries. And I think if anybody's interested in our story, maybe go to our website.
Mr. Taylor, for someone listening that wants to get more information about Great Bear Resources, please share the website address.
www.greatbearresources.ca, and watch some of that video material. It can be entertaining, and it can also give you an idea for what we're working on here and how big it could be.
And for direct inquiries, call 604-646-8354. That number again is 604-646-8354. Or you may email info@greatbearresources.ca. Great Bear Resources trades on the TSX.V, symbol GBR, and on the OTCQX, symbol GTBDF. Before you make your next bullion purchase, make sure you call me. I'm a licensed representative for Miles Franklin Precious Metals Investments, where we provide a number of options to expand your precious metals portfolio, from physical delivery, offshore depositories, precious metal IRAs, and private blockchain distributed ledger technology. Call me directly at 855-505-1900. That number again is 855-505-1900. Or you may email Maurice at milesfranklin.com. Finally, please subscribe to provenandprobable.com for mining insights and bullion sales. Chris Taylor of Great Bear Resources, thank you for joining us today on Proven and Probable.
Thank you, Maurice.
The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.